Good afternoon. This is President Obonjo here, your benevolent dictator. One of the things I want to continue to do is to focus on African matters. And we all know, those of you who are into Africa and African matters will know that the Tanzanian president lost his life and has now been buried. And actually, I heard his wife basically said that she's going to miss him for morning sex. I don't know how far that is true because he enjoyed morning sex. Apparently, that's what she said. But on a serious note, President Magufuli, as I can pronounce his name, was a controversial figure, definitely. I do remember him when he became president 5 years ago, and he was very, very popular. He was almost seen as the new wave of leadership in Africa, because as you know, the West likes to paint us African leaders in a bad way. And there are some real genuine African leaders who care for their people. So when he died, I was taken aback, I was surprised, but I was also aware that he had become a controversial figure compared to where he was 5 years ago. We know that he was a COVID denier. There are so many speculations about his death. I have a young man here who I discovered through BBC News Africa, and he was invited to talk about Tanzania, and he's from Tanzania, and his name is Shirumisha Kwayu. And I hope I have not destroyed his name like an Englishman, but I think I have done it very well. And I thought it would be a good idea to have him because he's currently based in Tanzania. What is the current situation? What is the late president's legacy? It's fantastic to hear, that we now have a female Tanzanian president. This is fantastic and great news for women in Africa, because I genuinely feel I've never ever been in power. I just feel I am in power for comedy. But, I feel male leaders have actually failed Africa, and it's time for female leadership. But on a serious note, how are you, my friend? And thank you so much for short notice getting onto this interview with me.
Thank you very much, President Obonjo, for welcoming me into your comedy session.
Yeah.
Your interview.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, my name is Shirumisha Kwayu, as you've introduced me. And here in Tanzania, recently we have our president passed away, and we are now in the period of on his burial, like burial week and condolence and period. And right now we have sworn in a new president. Therefore, while there's this activity of saying farewell to the previous president, for the late president, we also have a new one who we are looking forward when she is making a new government of our own. And people are mixed up. They don't know whether she will continue the same stance like the previous president, or she will have her own new style. Therefore, that's what is happening right now in Tanzania.
Okay. And can I start by saying I'm really sorry to hear about the late president. May his soul rest in peace. But also, as one door closes, another door opens. You now have a female president. She's from the same political party, isn't she?
Yes, she's from the same political party. In Tanzania, since independence, we have only had one party rule until now, although there has been a period of multi-partyism and everything, and there was a period when there was socialism, it was one party rule, but one party has governed throughout from independence until right now.
What, the same political party?
Yeah, the same political party.
Wow, that's almost like a dictatorship.
But different leaders within the same party, from the same party.
Well, yes, I understand that. So it's different leaders, but the same political party. That is, yeah. Okay. So let's start with the late president's legacy. What is your view? Because there's so much misinformation. I want to hear the African narrative. What is your view about his legacy?
Yes, I think his legacy is mixed. And I think he started quite well. I was one of his supporters when he started his president. But after a while, I started to resent on some of the issues which he started to do. He has done, I think, as a person who was focused on material development, and he ignored the social, or it was on expense of social issues. In terms of material, he has been championing like a standard gauge railway, which is a big project. He has been championing airplanes. He bought like a lot of airplanes for the national carrier, which had like few planes. He also had like he started like a new dam project, which is very big and very controversial, which is called Nyerere, or it was called Stigler's George. I think those were some of his priorities. But once you have a lot of big projects, sometimes you can start to undermine, especially when you are very focused on those big projects. You can start to undermine social development, and I think that's what gives a mixed feeling on the president, because with that you have like high taxes, which it can create a bad environment for businesses, and with that you can start curtailing media freedom, curtailing opposition, oppressing opposition, and also sometimes curtailing civil societies. And I think those are issues which have made some people to resent him. Also with the recent thing like the denial of COVID. And for example, with the COVID, he was for local medicine or local remedies or local methods, and he didn't want like the vaccines, like the here we call them barracas, but the masks and everything. Those are the things which he was skeptical of the West. He was a lot skeptical. That's why he used to say like the mask can come with viruses and everything. And I think that's what gives a lot of people different views on him.
Well, okay, thanks for that. But don't you think, because
Yes.
there are a couple of things for me. One is, what made him turn a corner from being such a very, in your view, being such a very popular and popular leader? What made him change to become controversial?
I think he's a populist. I think
Okay.
he's a populist. But if you want to gain insight on him, is the way he ascended on power from his own party.
Mm-hmm.
During the election, during the 2015 election, he had no chance of gaining nomination from his party. There were two big contenders,
Mm-hmm.
and those two big contenders were like they were broken up. They had like two groups. Therefore, they decided to go with somebody who didn't have factions within the party. And they thought Magufuli, because he was like focused on, when he was a minister, he used to focus on, he was a road minister, he was work minister, he used to focus on work. Therefore, I guess a lot of people thought like, oh, this is somebody who can give us a win in the election. Therefore, they took him as a safe option.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started, a lot of people thought him, because like populist people. That's why he was very popular even on Twitter, on everywhere. People were asking what would Magufuli do. He was unconventional, and
Mm-hmm.
he still remained unconventional until to the last end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it starts to hurt some people, that's why another name of him, they call him the bulldozer. If you have seen, some people, they call him the bulldozer, because what he stands for and what he pushes for, he goes for it. That is his stand. Therefore, and while he goes for it, sometimes during that process, he hurts a lot of people in unexplainable way. That's a problem, and that's why he becomes a lot of a controversial leader.
Okay.
Until now.
Okay. And the bit about the COVID denial,
Yes.
the bit about the fact that he was skeptical, don't you think that, because obviously we have the same in England. We have people who believe that they call them
let's say
anti-vaxxers.
like Donald Trump.
Yeah, just like Donald Trump. But the point I'm trying to make is this.
Yes.
We shouldn't even compare him like Donald Trump. I'm looking at it from the COVID denial point of view, that we know what some of these vaccines did to Africans many years ago, where they tested Africans like guinea pigs. Have you heard about that? Where so maybe that was his own, I don't know, whether that was his own rationale, that you can't trust the West with the vaccines. You can't trust local remedy is the way forward.
Yeah, sometimes you can say that one, and you cannot deny like some of the issues or the negative issues centered on vaccine and some people. But when you have a pandemic and you have a short period of time, you have to put you have to put your effort on science. At least if those local medicines people had we have researchers, we have scientists and everything. If people had made their own vaccine, that would have been a good thing from those local medicines. But you cannot deny something when when the whole world is using it. And then let's look at other things. A lot of people were dying when under the age of 5, but nowadays we have lots of different vaccines, and most of them they are donor funded, and they come through the same way like the COVID vaccine, or the same instrument through World Health Organization and other organizations. Therefore, we cannot say that West or something, because if we are prone to the disease, also West will be prone to the disease, especially in a pandemic situation. Therefore, for us to be healthy, it's healthy because we are intertwined in the same world ecosystem. Therefore, I guess that one was, but it's a view shared by lots of people, and some people buy that narrative. And I guess everyone has freedom of opinion, but it should have made it free for people to decide whether they want vaccine or they do not want.
Okay, so he just made that decision that you're not having the vaccine, you're going to go for pawpaw, and that is it.
Yeah, and that's it.
And I have to ask you,
and it has costed them a lot, because even now we had the minister who had died from COVID. We had the chief secretary just within last year. Probably rumors have it that he died in COVID. And we have also the vice president in Zanzibar Island, Maalim Seif. He died from COVID. He stated, he announced it, but him also, Magufuli, some people suspect that it is COVID. Although here people, they don't say it's COVID. Here people, they call it pneumonia, or they say it's because it's like a crime to say it's COVID.
Okay, but the reason why, I don't know, my people are telling me that it is not COVID. My people tell me that it's had complications, because if it was COVID, I saw the burial.
That might be underlying condition.
Yeah, but if it was COVID, there's no way you will be allowed to go very close to the cops. You guys he was in waiting, and you were watching. He was lying in waiting. Yeah, because if it's COVID, you're not allowed to go next to the body.
No, that's not what is happening right now in Tanzania. From when they stopped to provide statistics for COVID and everything, anyone who dies, people, they go, even if it's pneumonia, even if all things indicate that it is COVID, still people go and bury the person. And it has costed a lot of lives, but nobody cares for it. Nobody takes those records, and nobody even in the death certificates, you'll find nowhere written it's COVID or something like that. But people, they know it's COVID.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that if the president died of COVID, I saw people when he was lying in waiting, people were walking past to pay respects. Surely, if he died of COVID, you shouldn't be near the body.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. But no one will say, no one will deny it. Therefore, people, they just take it. If you have already denied it, then why would you say that it is the same thing? It will be embarrassment. And why would you refuse people to do that one? Therefore, that's the continuation of the denial.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we've been able to establish that he was a controversial figure, mixed views. I have to ask you, you don't have to answer this. There's a view, conspiracy theorists are basically saying that he was killed by the West because he was a COVID denier.
And no, I don't think so. But that would be interesting, because you never know, though. You never know.
That is what we are hearing. That because there was a tweet by or an article by Bill Gates' wife, Melinda, and she basically said, and she said something about the president, and basically said it's time to deal with the anti-vaxxer president. And then a couple of weeks later or months later, he's dead. I don't know how far this is true, but this is what is out there, that a lot of these leaders who are controversial and who are against the West, they just die. You know, it's a mystery. So the Burundi president as well is dead, apparently.
Yeah, the Burundi president died of COVID. And I think sometimes part of the, I don't know, but I think part of the denial puts them also on the risk of getting COVID or something like that. Yeah, of getting COVID, because when you deny it, when you are meeting with lots, especially for popular leaders who meet with lots of people, different people, having mass rallies, meeting people, maybe when you go to church, when you go, you just put yourself into that risk. Therefore, you cannot blame anyone.
Okay, let's move on to your new president. Congratulations. You call her Mama
Mama Samia.
Mama Samia.
Yeah.
And she's a Muslim, so it's great.
Yes.
I am really interested to see how she's going to be able to change the late president's manifesto, because the manifesto is for the same political party. What makes you think her direction will be different?
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of difference, because even the personality, you know, like with the constitution of Tanzania, president has got lots of power. Therefore, that's why, although we have been having one political party since independence, but different leaders with different personality, their impact and their influence is seen. Because once you have a leader who a lot of power is concentrated on them, a lot of people underneath the leader, they have to follow the personality, or they try to imitate the personality of the leader. And she is calm, she listens, she has got a motherly love to people and everything. Therefore, I think she will do a lot of things, and she will have an impact on the stuff that she'll be doing. Although a lot of people, they are skeptical, they say that we shouldn't put lots of hope, because still there is lots of impact and lots of influence from Magufuli to especially like the people and underneath him, because she will have to form her own government. She will have to select her own people, arrange his own government, his cabinet, and everything. Therefore, it will take time. And also, there are some issues which she can change them immediately. There are some issues which she will need some time, and there's some issues which she'll need a lot of time to make, especially on social issues. For example, like there was a development of an enactment of new constitution. I think that might take some of her period during her first term, which she's starting now for the next 5 years. And then that one will solve some issues, especially like power concentration and other things which can happen. And then another issue, she will have to change some of the stances, for example, like allowing pregnant girls back to school. And then there are issues like COVID. We don't know whether she will continue the denial strategy, or she will accept or let it free. And there are quite a lot of issues. Therefore, a lot of people think it as a turning point for when she comes as a new leadership, as a new dawn and everything. As you say, when one door closes, another one opens. Yeah. But then a lot of people are looking what will she have in a pass for the nation. Therefore,
yes.
We remain hopeful.
Yeah. I wish her well, and I wish Tanzanian people well, because it's important that she succeeds. The bit that really is interesting for me is that you've had one political party in power since independence. What is wrong with the opposition party? Why are they not that effective?
No, they are very effective, and they've been gaining power every now and then, even in the ground. And I think part of the thing, even for CCM to pick Magufuli during that time, it was because they were in a worry that the country will go to the opposition, and they will do everything for him to remain. Although there was a lot of controversial, for example, like the 2019 local election and 2000 election, it marred with a lot of rigging and lots of irregularities. Therefore, the opposition has been gaining. And even now, right now, if you look at big opposition leaders in the country are in exile. And this is because they have become a threat. They can remove the whole ruling class. And that's an issue. If you remove the ruling class, then you are really threat to the power. But now if you are weak opposition, you are good to them because they will just show that we have democracy, we have everything. But when you are close to remove the power, it's when a ruling party shows all its strength and everything. That's how it is.
And because I know the opposition leader is Tunde Lissu. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's Tundu Lissu, there's Freeman Bowe, there's God Bless Lema, and others who are in exile right now.
So all the opposition leaders are in exile?
No, those, I would say the ones who are threat to the government or who feel that they are threatened by the government, most of them, especially the heavyweight one, they've gone to exile. Other ones are still in the country.
Okay. And we should congratulate Tanzania because
and I would say on this point, because of this division, and especially like having some people going, people are looking for Samia as a reconciling force, that she will be able even to attract those people who have gone in exile to come back, and people like the ones who were on opposing view just to come together and have a one nation together behind that. And that's one of the things which a lot of people hope for.
And you think that's possible?
If she, I would like to think it's possible. Nothing is impossible under the sun. Therefore, I would like to think it's possible, and it will happen, I'm sure. But if it won't happen, it will be just a sad story. I think. Look, she reconciled because even on her speech, on her swearing speech, she said that I'm going to bring all people together. Therefore, I'm sure that she will bring them.
Okay. Looking at your website, you are a very interesting character because I know you love politics. So
yes.
Which of the parties do you support? Are you in opposition or are you in the current government's party?
For me, I'm a nationalist first, but with the current view, I'm with opposition. I'm for more freedom, for more liberal policies.
Okay.
And,
So when should I? Would you ever run for office?
Do you want me to become a dictator like you?
You don't. You see,
you don't know. One day I will have a heart like yours.
Perhaps maybe I should just explain that one of the reasons why I decided to be a comedy dictator was because I read up the history of African dictators. And I noticed that most of them, Mugabe, Idi Amin Dada, Gaddafi, quite a number of them who were Pan-Africanists, they really cared for their people. These were almost like freedom fighters. And then eventually what happened, my friend, is this. As soon as they fell out with the West, the West started calling them dictators.
Of course, even some of the people who are dictators, it doesn't mean that whether West validates them or they doesn't validate, still the people have got their own views, and it depends on what the citizens have to say on their leaders. One thing that we should remember is that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And most of our constitutions, they give a lot of power to the leaders. Therefore, even if they don't call themselves, because a lot of power is concentrated on them, they automatically become dictators. And especially, that's why you can see lots of them, they want to continue to reign even beyond their period or beyond their time. That's one of the things. And another thing which I think makes them is once they start blundering, and when people they don't want, because I think Tony Blair said it quite well. He said when you start leadership, you are least inexperienced, but then you are very popular, and then when you're experienced, you become less popular. Now what happens? It's like an inverse relationship. Therefore, when they start, they normally start quite well, and when things become difficult and when they cannot promise their things, they find people to blame. And it's easier to blame rather than to take responsibility. And who will you blame? You will blame the opposition and you will blame the West. And once you blame the opposition and the West, you say that this opposition are used by the West. Do you see that? That's how a lot of them, they become and they become in that way they enact some sort of dictatorship, and in that way that's why some people they start having like oppression on media. You don't have quite the views of both sides. The same thing like you can see with Museveni. He started quite well. Mugabe started quite well, and lots of leaders they do start quite well, but if the constitution doesn't allow them to end, and if they don't respect it, they continue to do. And especially once they start having like when they've started underperforming some of the things, then that's when they feel like, no, I don't want to leave, or when they have started engaging in corrupt deals or anything, because they think like if I'm out, I'm not safe. Or that's why lots of people they just stay until their death, or until when a coup goes, or when thing. And I think there is an issue of civility, because if there is a civil way of removing people into power and civil way of accommodating opposing views, then you have a civil way of continuing. But when you don't allow civil ways, then that's where you see like killings, you see like people dying, people removing, eliminating people in other ways. Instead of eliminating people by argument, you eliminate them by a gun, or instead of eliminating people by that's way, instead of removing leaders by votes, you remove them by coups. That's a problem with our country, and we don't want us to regress back. We want us to move forward with even our own version of African democracy.
Well, but like I was going to say to you, at least congratulations, you've had a smooth transition of power. You know, from even though it was a late president, but you moved over and you transferred power to someone else, which is good.
Yes.
Which African leaders do you admire apart from me?
Which African leaders do I admire right now?
Yeah.
Or even the ones who are previous? I would
No,
admire
the previous ones. I think I can suspect it's now, because I think there is an issue with leadership in Africa. But which African leaders do you, apart from Tanzania?
Currently, I would admire the Ghanaian president Nana Akufo. I would admire Kenyan president Kenyatta. I think those two, from my focus, I think they're doing quite well. And probably, I'm not very sure with Ramaphosa.
Who's Ramaphosa?
I'm Ramaphosa from South Africa. I'm not very sure, but I would say there are some of leaders. But our previous leaders, I would admire somebody like Kikwete. He did a good job. Also Nyerere, I think he did a good job. Mwinyi. In Tanzania, we had some good presidents.
Okay, and you've never had military coups?
There was attempt, but we never had.
Okay.
We have been a peaceful country.
So you're probably one of the few African countries that has never had a military coup.
Yeah, we didn't have a military coup.
Yeah, why is that?
I would say there were like some few attempts which happened, but they failed. And then another thing which I would say that I think the way the foundation, like socialism, and the way the ruling party has been adjusting itself with times and moments. For example, like even having like different term limits. For example, although Nyerere stayed quite a lot, but when he started, because there were coup attempts, but they failed. Therefore, he decided later on to give it to another person. Therefore, I think having good exchange of power is one of the things which has made the country be peaceful. And then the other thing is also there is love in the country. I think so. There is love, and there is like some sort of unity and discussion and everything. Therefore, those are the things which have made things peaceful in the country.
Yeah, well, I hope it continues to be peaceful for a great country. You guys certainly have set the record. You know, in terms of smooth transition of power, and then and then you now have a female president. Yeah, so that is great. What I would challenge you on, my good friend, is next time when I ask you who are your African leaders that you admire, you should say President Obonjo. You know, because
I will say that one.
But look, my
I will
friend,
forgive them.
it has been a pleasure to talk to you. And who knows, maybe this is something that we can do on a regular basis whenever you are free, just to talk on African matters, especially African leadership, because like I said, I genuinely believe that there is a crisis in African leadership. And, you know, I genuinely believe that some of these African leaders have not really shown, you know, led by example for the youths to admire. You know, I'm surprised you didn't even mention the Rwandan president, Kwama, is it? I can't remember his name now.
Kagame.
Yeah, yes.
Kagame.
Yes.
No, I've got a different view on him.
Ah,
Therefore,
okay.
yeah, he doesn't inspire me.
It doesn't inspire you. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, just add President Obonjo to the
President
list.
Obonjo
To the list. And look,
yeah.
it's been a pleasure, and I'm sure there's going to be lots more happening in Africa. One of the things we haven't touched on is the what I heard about your late president. One of the reasons why he wasn't popular outside Africa was the fact that he refused to sell stuff to China.
No, I think what he did, what was really outside the Acacia, the Barrick gold mine, he sent them a bill. I think you remember that thing about selling golds and everything and taking the sun away from the country. That was one of the things which he did, although some people say the approach or the strategy which he used wasn't quite well, but that was one issue. Another thing, he didn't like to travel. Yeah, I guess from his presidential, one of the things which is very different from other African leaders, I would say he didn't like to travel outside. I don't think if he went outside Africa when he was the president.
Well, is that because he suspected that maybe they might try and get rid of him?
I really don't know.
But because it's a great strategy. If you know, what's the point of you leaving your country when you? But that is a very good way of leadership as far as I'm concerned, because I understand that he tried very hard to tackle corruption, and you know that African presidents can travel. You know, they will use any excuse to travel.
They can travel a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have that's why you have a foreign minister. If you have a foreign minister, your foreign minister does the traveling. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to join the club of other presidents when they are traveling, when they are discussing national issues. You have to travel a little bit, and you have to mix up with the other thing. And I think that one will be one of the sharpest difference between him and her, the new president. I think she might be traveling quite a lot outside.
Quite a lot. Look,
she will be engaging in the international stage because, as you know, Tanzania used to lead in international relations. For example, like with the fight of against colonialists in Southern Africa and everything. And it has been a major player in the regional politics and everything, especially because of its peace and everything. It has been a stronghold for stability and everything. Therefore, we need a president who has got an international perspective and who travels out a lot.
Okay, so the late president definitely was like Donald Trump, who was more insular, more Tanzanian
more
first.
nationalist.
Yeah.
He was that side.
Yeah. Look, I will release you. Thank you so much. I'm going to put this on YouTube. I will send you the link. This has been fantastic, and I hope we can do this again. I will find some good African subject matters. Maybe we talk about leadership. Leadership will be the next one we talk about. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.